Natural treatments for irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome, also known as colitis, is a condition that attacks the large intestine, causing inflammation, intense pain, and even bleeding. If this syndrome is not properly treated, it can cause cancerous ulcers. Additionally, when a person's organism suffers from this illness, it begins to reject certain foods and drinks, intensifying the previously mentioned symptoms. Although there is no certain cure for this condition, there are a number of treatments that can increase your quality of life. That's why we've put together a list of foods that you should avoid eating if you suffer from. They'll help your intestines function better and help you steer clear of discomfort. Chocolate. Derived from dried cacao seeds, chocolate stimulates the nervous system as well as the digestive system, causing it to provoke stomach cramps and diarrhea in people who suffer from colitis. Grains and legumes. This group includes beans, peas, white pasta, lentils and chickpeas. Due to their high iron and insoluble fiber content, these foods produce constipation and cramping in patients with irritable bowel syndrome, making them a bad choice for anyone who suffers from this illness. Dairy products. Dairy is one of the main enemies of the digestive system for people who suffer from colitis, or irritable bowel syndrome. Given its high lactose content, milk and other dairy products are hard for irritable bowel syndrome patients to digest. Citric fruits. More specifically, we're talking about lemons, oranges and tangerines. Although the impact of these fruits is not as intense as that of other foods, they are proven to cause discomfort in patients with irritable bowel syndrome. We recommend avoiding these juices. Fat. When we talk about fats, we're talking about any kind of fried food. And, although we already mentioned milk in the section on dairy products, you should keep in mind that this liquid is also quite fatty, which makes it difficult for the intestine walls to absorb. Bananas. Greens. Bananas, rich in potassium and carbohydrates, are among the list of foods that most stand in the way of good colon function because they can cause constipation, making it harder for one to defecate and, on most occasions, cause bleeding. Foods with preservatives. If we're going to talk about preservatives, we must first take a look at processed foods, canned foods and bottled juices, which contain a large amount of preservatives in order to stay fresh on the shelf for longer. These additives cause even greater discomfort for someone with irritable bowel syndrome. Alcohol. It goes without saying that alcoholic beverages are one of an irritable bowel's worst enemies. This is because alcohol is a gastrointestinal irritant. Therefore, we suggest that people who suffer from this syndrome avoid consuming beverages such as wine, beer, rum and whiskey, among others, because these drinks can make their symptoms even more intense. Soft drinks. Soft drinks are among the list of non-recommended foods because the carbonation in them can cause stomach inflammation. Therefore, we recommend that irritable bowel syndrome patients avoid these products. Caffeine. In this group, we're not just talking about coffee, we're also talking about energy drinks. These beverages have high caffeine content, but don't offer your organism any nutrients. These drinks tend to cause constipation and rapid water loss. Something to keep in mind. And although this list may seem a bit long and make you think that life is all bad for patients who have been diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, you should really look at it from another point of view, because thanks to this list, you can develop an appropriate diet to improve your quality of life. Additionally, there is more information out there about new ways of preparing foods in order to counteract the effects of certain foods, or lessen the degree to which they harm the body, for people who suffer from colitis, or irritable bowel syndrome. One clear example is lactose-free milk, which you can find in the supermarket and which is much easier for the intestine walls to absorb due to the absence of lactose. So go out and discover more about this and other innovative food preparation methods for patients with irritable bowel syndrome.